What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hope Shot. Hope everyone's having a great week. I'm over here, all lonely and stuff, all by myself. But we got a great story. I'm not gonna be lonely for long. Hope you guys, if you guys are just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. I have to read the clarity statement, and I do not have it ready, so bear with me. I'm not ready. I'm all by myself. Well, kinda. He's back there. He sees me. All right, clarity statement. There it is. All right. You think I know this thing by heart by now because we've been doing this for so long, but my brain does not work like that. So, the Hope Shot clarity statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common. Recovery is a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there, and thank you for being a part of our family. And we mean that. And let's say what's up, some peoples. We got my friend Rachel. What's up, Rachel? Thank you for sharing. We got Katie. Good to see you. I got all my peeps in here. I'm never alone. All by myself. A little bit. All right, I'm done. Man, we got a great story tonight. We got Danielle in the house. Good to see you, Danielle. Thanks for being here. We got a good friend of mine, Matt, is going to be sharing a story. Matt is a solid guy in recovery. I remember when he first got into recovery, he was crazy. Okay. I thought I was crazy. No, he's crazy. And he knows it. And that's the beauty of it, man. My crazy recognizes his crazy, and that's why we connect, because we're a little off, and that's okay. You know, I like kind of being off. If I was on, I don't know where I would be in my life, but I like being off. And Matt will tell you he's off too. So even in recovery. But here's Matt. What's up, Matt?
What's going on, Just?
You know, I should have had some like background music or like, you know, just you know,
Cool this.
you know.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm grateful today. I'll tell you that. Yeah, life
Stuff,
is good.
man. Well, excited to hear your story. I know I've probably heard it before, but you never know what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I guess with that, I'll start off. My name is Matt S. I am an addict, and before I got on here, just I prayed because without my higher power, I wouldn't be here today. And I want to state that it's been a journey. Today we have 40 years, 1 month, and 29 days clean. Right. It's a we program. Thank you. My fellowship that I chose, I was lucky enough everybody chose me. Right. My God brought me there. My higher power brought me there. So I'll tell a little bit of how it was before, how it was while in it, and what it is like today, right? As long as I can reach someone, I know my higher power is speaking, not me. And that's what I've learned here in recovery, that Matt driving the bus is a bad idea. Like Justin said, I was crazy when I got here. I'm still able to get crazy today, but I know I'm also allowed to take myself off of the front seat and kind of sit in the back and just kind of let things flow. And by the grace of God and the fellowship, it's really helped me do that. So just to kind of start from the very beginning, I grew up in New York, not originally from Florida. No, now I call it my home. I got clean in Recovery Coast. Got clean down here in Florida. I would be abstaining from using while I was up in New York at times. But when I was growing up, didn't really have the need for anything. Came from a really successful family. My dad was successful what he did. My mom worked with my father, owned a general contracting firm. Because of that, me and my brother, who's 4.5 years younger, we were able to do a lot of stuff. We traveled as kids, New York City, going to see like Broadway shows, kind of living a little bit of the life. I worked during the summers as a lifeguard when I started to, had to get a job, quote unquote. It was really just to make sure I wasn't home by myself. I think causing my parents chaos. So when I first used any real substance, It was, I didn't know about this till I was like older. I was like 4 years old, right? Like my dad would let us like try his Heineken. And I would like, my mom said I would always be like thirsting for more, even though as I grew up and got into using, like I never really liked alcohol. Like, that wasn't something that like thrived me, but I did it to fit in. As I've been on this journey, like I did things to fit in with other people and to try and make myself seem cool. But today I'm happy with myself, and that's a blessing. So yeah, like I said, like I didn't really use all that much in high school because I was a swimmer. That was my drug, to be honest with you. When I first started, like my addictive personality chose like sports as my first real thing to do. What I would use, it'd be on the weekends. It would be the guy who would go balls to the wall, hard as he could, to outbeat everybody, stay up the latest, be the person, the last man standing, right? And I use a little bit of booze here, I use a little bit of weed there, and that was really it. Like I could maybe count on my fingers and toes, maybe, how many times I used in high school. It really started to escalate when I went to college, right? Not having the parents over the shoulders to worry about getting in trouble, right? Because my parents would be those ones that would stay up at night to make sure I got home safely, or hey, you can call us or you can party at our house. And I was grateful for that because I never had like a DWI or a DUI because of that, but also it made like using okay. So when I went to college and I started to dabble in more hardcore things, it was off to the races. And what I realized was that, drugs made me become funnier, cooler, more attractive, all those things. I was lacking the self-esteem, even though I had people who loved me. Don't get me wrong, like I had that. But it really came down to how much I really care and love myself when I look back on it by going through step work. So go to college, start, using a little bit of this, using all of that. And then I fell in love with like one of my favorite drugs at the time, and it carried me from 18 till I was 37 and a half till I found recovery. And then it proceeded to trying all these other things, like the ones that like I wouldn't try or I wouldn't do, or I wouldn't do it only on the weekends. And then it became during the week. So I ended up going for a year and a half to the University of Rhode Island because I ended up having jaw surgery after my freshman year, and I have a metal plate and 4 screws in my face because of it. And they gave me, again, not knowing I was an addict at the time, remember it was 300 milligrams of liquid Vicodin, 300 milligrams of liquid codeine, and a bunch of Valium, and then also Vicodins. And I was still working as a lifeguard, but they put me in front of the cash register. And I remember that summer working at the cash register and taking money for our Sunshine Fund so we could have bigger and better parties on the weekends. And then that following year, when I was lifeguard again, and after my year after the surgery, I go back to being a lifeguard, and there's cameras on the cash register. I always like to think, like as I got into recovery, like those probably were because of me, because they realized a lot of money went missing. And I ended up losing that job, right? And I lost that job eventually one day because of my using, coming in hungover too many times or, too blasted. And that was a perpetual motion in my life from like in my 20s, was getting a job here, losing a job because of my using, getting a job and then losing the job because of my using. Same thing with women, right? Get a girlfriend. I would use behind their back without them knowing. I became very unfaithful doing that as well. And then I moved out to remember we went out to California, and that was a time in my life where I had a short brief of like, not clean time or anything like that, but just that not using phase, like, because I couldn't find it yet. Right. We always say like, you maybe can move yourself from a situation, but you come with it too. Like I was able to find what I was looking for when I wanted to find it. And again, it was that motion, that reciprocal thing over and over again. every few years, just recycling a new job or a new girl or vice versa at the same time, losing both, right? But I never thought I had a problem. Remember the first time, we say jail institutions and death. And the first time I went to like jail, it was a drunk tank experience, but I got in like a altercation with one of my best friends at our beach house at Jersey Shore. And me, in my using, I'm very vocal. My hands, I'm Italian. And I remember the chief of police saying, "Sir, if you do not put your hands down, we're going to arrest you and take you into jail for the night." And I mean, obviously I didn't listen. Because I'm listening to my mind and not what they're saying, right? I'm using my mouth as the ears and not my 2 ears. And they put me in cuffs. I remember being dragged down with no shoes on, crying, like, what am I going to do in my life? Like, freaking out. And the minute I get into that jail cell, I turn on the charm and charisma because there's another kid in there who's under 20, got a DWI that night because you can't sleep in your car with your keys in ignition at Jersey Shore. They'll tag you for a DWI. And I tell him, I'm a lawyer. I'm going to law school. I'll help you out, bro. Don't worry about it. Like, I take it off of me. I put it onto him, right? Like manipulating, even at the smallest little level. I get out at like 4 a.m, go home, and then just same thing over and over. That next summer, when I lost a job and the girlfriend, I'm really grateful. Friends of mine wouldn't let me stay at that beach house. I think if I did say that summer, I don't know what would have occurred, like what bad things would have happened. Like not having a job and just using and just getting loaded all the time would probably not have been a good idea, right? But again, still not thinking I have a problem. It's just, it's their fault. Their loss, I'd always say. That it was meant to be. Whatever I thought the right, term to make myself feel okay and make it seem okay to everybody else. And then I ended up finding, I met a girl, my future ex-wife, and I was really honest and upfront with her, right? I got really honest and upfront with that about like where I was financially, really bad credit. I loved going to concerts and I loved using drugs and alcohol. And she co-signed it, right? Like I found a using buddy that no matter what I did, things were cool. We would do it together, weekends, and then sometimes during the week. And that, that went on for a significant amount of time, right? Almost for 10 years we were, together. And we have a child together. I'm here to tell you today, though, like our relationship, we're really good co-parents. And that's because of the rooms, because of the people in my life, men who show me how to be a great father, and then women who show my daughter, to be a young lady too, right? Like my fiance. And her mom does a great job too. Like I can't take all the credit, right? It's a two-way street with co-parent. But towards the end of our relationship, right? There was about a year and a half before I got into recovery. I remember her going to my parents and saying like I had a problem with using one substance, like the one I started using in college, cocaine. I'll just say it, right? And like that's what it was for like 20 some odd years. I was one of my best friends. And the funny thing was like I was so mad at her for telling on me because like, oh, you do it with me too. Like, but like I know every time I brought it up, looking back on the past, it was I would manipulate, I would make it seem like it was a good thing to do, probably 95% of the time. Right? Or maybe even more. Because I know for myself, I don't speak for me, I know I'm a good manipulator. Like when I wanted to get things, I knew how to get it from a little kid up to like, 37 and a half. So that was like the first time like we had to sit down and talk about it. But like we took a break from using one thing, but not the other. But one's too many, 1,000 never enough, right? So like eventually I'm going and buying stuff behind her back. I'm going to bachelor parties and being unfaithful in my marriage, right? Things I said I never do. And then eventually, I remember switching a job from being I was a teacher when we moved down to Florida. And I remember leaving the classroom and becoming like an intervention specialist, which was like a push-in teacher. And the school I was working at the time, we lost our second child at like 20 weeks. And I remember working with these kids and these parents, and I'm blaming, like, my God, I'm blaming these parents, how they have these kids, and I'm losing my kid. And then I just went really hard, balls to the wall, full throttle into severe drug use. It started off just by drinking at home, and then my ex-wife was going to bed early with our daughter, and I was alone up drinking, and I didn't want to be alone drinking, so I went to the bars. I didn't want to go to the bars because I didn't want people, like parents, seeing me at the bars, so I went to strip clubs. And from March like 28th of 21 till when I walked into the rooms of I think it was June 9th was my first time in any room, any affiliate of any blank A. And it was all out, man. Like, it was scary. Lost a lot of money in over 3.5 months. I did a lot of damage, to my body in that short period of time. And then finally, when I came into the rooms, I felt like, I didn't know where to go, but I knew I had to do something, because at that point it was my ex wanting me to do something about it, right? Like, I wasn't fully invested yet. And I remember going to a one meeting at 7 a.m, and this, anonymous program gives out chips, and they gave it out at 7 o'clock in the morning before the meeting started. And 4 times that chip fell out of my hand, right? And every time it landed, it sounded in my head like the Saruman ring in Lord of the Rings, just a whoa, 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 and I would pick it up. And then luckily, one of those people, this woman with like 20 some odd years of sobriety, came up to me and talked to me for like an hour and a half, right? Because we can only give what we have by freely giving it away. And she talked to me for that period of time. And at the end of it, she goes, I really believe, Matt, that if you focus on, yourself and doing the right thing, like, you'll never have to have another drink ever again. But there is another affiliate you got to go check out. So I did that, right? I took a suggestion for the first time that wasn't someone who knew me, but she knew me, right? Because you got to talk to me. And that's when I walked to my first meeting at 7 o'clock at night. And, I walked in, and everybody that might be on here, just included, I walked in, I thought I didn't belong. I was fearful. I was scared. I remember walking up like 2 rows of steps to get to that meeting. And, I walked in, and like, I remember a few people speaking, talking about what they were like, and all the tattoos. I remember that was the one thing I remember about. I'll be honest, like, that scared me. Like, I was like, I don't know why that did, but it did. But what I came to find out was, like, once I started hearing the readings, that was something that clicked. And I listened to those. I got a basic text, and then I heard you guys chanting things at the end of the meeting, and that was like the first thing. Like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, these guys know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. Like, everyone's kind of answering back and forth. So, like, they want me to come back. I guess I'll come back tomorrow. Right, my first meeting was a Monday, so I went to a Tuesday. I started doing like the 90 and 90, like we were told. But at the same time, I wasn't fully giving up one drug, usually medical marijuana or California clean diet. And remember going through that, and what ended up happening, because like I said, June 9th is when I came into the rooms, but July 5th is my clean date. I ended up relapsing, or just used a drug I thought I would never use in my entire life. And if you ever watch Breaking Bad, you know what that is, right? It was on Father's Day Eve. I got into a fight with my ex. I ended up getting picked up by someone, do this drug once, twice, 3 times with them, and then a bunch of times with some other people, where I went into a hotel room up on 19 with all my possessions from my car, with my keys on me, thinking it was safer with all of it up there than in my car with the key on me. Like, that's how crazy my mind was. And I remember trying to leave as the sun was rising that morning on Father's Day. And they're like, oh, you ain't leaving yet. You got to do this and this because we think you're a cop. And I don't remember if it's my mind playing tricks on me or what actually happened. I thought they were pulling a gun on me. So I did it, right? And then proceeded 3 days later to have my first death experience where I was having heart palpitations, pumping gas after a meeting when I was working at the amphitheater as a security head security of the pit. And I go to the hospital. I remember passing out in the lobby, waking up on like the bed, and then a few or four more times. And every time I woke up, I go, what are you doing? They're like, oh, we're pumping you with heart attack medication. They did like 4 or 5 times. But that morning I had to go coach swimming. And I remember it was like one of the lowest parts of my life was I'm on the pool deck at like 6:15 in the morning, and one of my swimmers like sees the wristband because I forgot to cut off the wristband from the hospital. And she goes, yo, Coach Matt, what's up? Like, why do you have that on? Like, I tell her, and I just start crying. And like a 12-year-old is holding me up. I'm literally like breaking apart. And I went and coached. And then luckily, friends in the program brought me to a convention. And then at that convention, I opened up a little more honestly about the near-death experience and everything that's happening and going to strip clubs. And someone in the program said, you should go to a rehab. So that was July 3rd. I called my father. And by July 4th, I was in a rehab facility thinking I'd stay for 28 days because that's what I had my mind convinced all I needed. But while in there, I had a complete and utter mental breakdown because in that month and a half time frame when I lost my second daughter to when I got into rehab, I'd used so much acid that like my mind literally was like melting. And being clean for those 2.5 weeks, the body just snapped. And I thought the bathroom floor was shaking. I thought there were Freddy Krueger kids laughing in the closet. And I thought rats were trying to escape. And for 45 minutes, I was like paralyzed in the rehab. Like we had our little like meetings every day. And the nurse there took care of me. And at that moment, I realized like I had to stay for longer because I couldn't go home driving my family or friends around and have that happen. I had to learn how to like see the signs, control the mind, like get a little more peace, I guess you would say. And then proceeded, there was a lot of other steps while in there that they helped me learn to like be okay with Matt, how to pause in situations, how to listen to other people and just shut the fuck up. And I wish I could say like it worked right away, but for me, this had like, I had to hit my head against the wall a few times before things really click in. So while there, my first sponsor, I worked some steps 1, 2, and 3 via like Zoom like this, like on our phones, which was awesome. And then I came home and then things were going okay. And then they weren't. And then the whole marriage broke apart and I'm out on my own January 1 of 2022. For the first time ever in my life, I lived on my own. And I wish I could say, like, I thought it was going to be free and all this great stuff. Like, it'd be great. But, like, I'd never been alone. And Matt by himself, it wasn't great in the beginning. I slowly stopped doing what I was told to do. Go to meetings, connect with people. Don't just get the list. Call the numbers on the back. Call the hotline of whatever, recovery you need to be part of. And I would make excuses at the meetings like, oh, I got my daughter's dance, or, oh, I got a swim thing going on. And then eventually it was like, I didn't really keep calling. And then I stopped calling my sponsor. And then I literally like locked myself in my own dope den, not using, but literally was like a dope den of white walls. So I had the lights off all the time. Remember in particular, my aunt coming to visit and, she just let me be right in that. She let me sit in my stuff. Like she let me sit in my own like depression, but she was there as like a light. I can see that now. Like she's one of the closest people I have. All my family is fantastic, but that aunt, like, she calls me just out of the blue all the time just to kind of check in. And I'm really grateful for that. Because I also called her when I was using, and she still, wanted to be part of my life, right? Like, I'm lucky I didn't burn those bridges. So that little depression happens, and then I go back to another facility in Newport Richey. Like I like to say, one flew over the cuckoo's nest. I never want to go back there. Like, it's what I needed at the time to realize that, like, my bipolar that I was diagnosed, bipolar 1, when I was in rehab, really knows how to creep up if I let it, right? When I was in my rehab, we talked about, like, how the disease of addiction, right? It can creep up like a cricket, and no one really thinks of a cricket as too annoying. Then there's a few more, then it kind of hops in your pocket, and then it becomes like this cute little puppy, and it grows and grows and grows, and mine grows to a Tyrannosaurus that's just knocking down everything. And how it knocks down everything for me is it pushes everybody away, because my disease tells me it's okay to be alone. And luckily, my parents came down, picked me up, and brought me back up to Jersey with them for like a few weeks. And, I remember 2 of my really close friends in my rehab called me when I was at my parents'. It was like, I want to say it was like Memorial Day of 2022. And one of our friends had committed suicide from using. And that was the first time I lost somebody close in recovery, right? And I remember, like, a few weeks before that, like, he called me and I didn't answer the phone because I was so in my depression. I didn't want to, like, bring it on him, thinking, like, didn't know that he needed help. But my one good friend told me, like, it's probably better off you didn't pick up that phone, because he could have brought you back out with him. So I realize that now, like, through other losses, like, it happens, right? Like, that's what some things we have to get ready for. Like I say, you get a black suit for weddings, or you go in for funerals when you come to recovery. And it's true. I got to see some friends get married. I've also seen I've lost friends, right? But I haven't used over it. And I've seen other people not use over it. And we talk to each other about it, right? It's just amazing what we can do together. I don't have to do it on my own anymore, which is fantastic. And when I came out of that depression and I came, back up, came back down home in Florida, after leaving my parents, I remember going to a few meetings I'd never been to because I was nervous to go and walk in. And it was funny, like, my ex-father-in-law that day asked me, "Hey, Matt, you still going to those meetings?" I go, "No, I haven't gone in a while." He goes, "Well, maybe you should go back." And that's what I did. And I remember one of my good friends from high school, not one of us, called me up, and he was just tired from a day of work. And my mind went to he was using, or he was in a depressive state. And I went and shared on that at a meeting, and then went to another meeting. And then someone told me, to get back into and plug back in. Someone with significant clean time, with 3 decades worth. And she also happens to be, this is a moment, like a God moment, right? Like, it happens when you keep your ears open and your mouth closed. And we're talking outside the meeting after her sponsee spoke, because she was from Long Island, and she was from Glen Cove. And she knows my family. And we lost a cousin of mine when he was 18. He was driving home from his high school graduation. And she knew my family. She knew the story. And she just hugged me. And then told me 3 important things. And it was that you're needed, you are loved, and that your ex is just the mother of your child. Go back to your people, go to the convention, and get plugged back in. So that's what I did, right? And I'm really grateful to that lady. I see her a lot around in recovery, and I'm grateful every time I see her. I still to this day think she's about 6'5" and know she's like 5'11", and I'm 5'9". But to me, she's a giant, because she's that amazing in my eyes, right? That's what I see. So with all of that, you would think like things would just be cooking, right? I'd be getting back into step work and stuff, and not the case. Again, Matt has his head against the wall. But I remember I got a new sponsor at that time, and we started working steps, again, and then I'm kind of looking for a relationship at that time. Like I wanted to be with someone. Like that was what I was looking for because I wanted it, not because my higher power wanted it, right? And when I took my foot off the gas a little bit and then tried to, then God did put someone in my life, put my fiance in my life. And her and I, when I remember she'll tell you the first time she met me, like it was a night on my great grand sponsor's, like, I think it was his 18th year celebrating at the time. And that day I had a shoulder injury. I went to the doctor finally after talking to my sponsor and talking to people in the program about like how I should use medication because I was nervous because they wanted to shoot me with a steroid. And long story short of it, it definitely made me go batshit nuts crazy. And my fiance that day looked at one of our friends and said, like, who is this guy? What is he using? They're like, oh no, that's just Matt. Like even with like almost 3 years clean, right? Like I still was, or 2.5, 3 years clean. I was still that crazy, right? Like it's okay though. If that's where you're at, that's where you're at. But as long as you're not using, that's the main thing. So we get together, and through the program, we have her kids back in our lives, right? That happened. We lived together. And that time also I had 2 other really great friends also living with me that also helped me more than they probably would ever know. And I'm not sure I've ever shared that truly. And I believe they're both here. So I want to say thank you guys for that. And it's the love that people gave me when I couldn't love myself through this whole process. Even when using, like all my friends that like I'm still in contact with in high school that still were with me when I was using those last few months that helped, my ex while I was away, right? Those people in between there, and then the people now in the program. And even with me knowing my, depression and my bipolar, it still crept around again, like later in that year. And I finally was opened up enough about a year ago with when we were still just boyfriend and girlfriend, to tell her like, it happened again. And we had a hard sit down and we check in, from time to time on how I'm doing, how she's doing, how we're doing as, parents, but like about the mental thing. Today, I don't use any medication for my bipolar. I'm working steps vigilantly. I will tell you that, and that has helped a lot. I'm on step 11, prayer and meditation. I don't pray as much as I should, but I pray. That's why I'm on the step. I don't meditate as much as I should, or as long as I know I can, but that's also okay, right? Through this journey of those 4 years in recovery, I have learned to feel those highs higher than I was using. Like I experience things on a totally different level now. I love still going to concerts, but I love going to them clean, right? I love not using at them because I can remember everything and parts of things. I can remember moments with my kids. I just enjoy life on a bigger and better level. Some of the readings today that I like to read, they told about like anonymity and not telling people about when you use, right? Or when you're in one of your affiliate in a blank anonymous program. And I can tell you when I was a teacher, it was a bad idea. Today, I'm lucky enough to be at a job, in a career where I am supported, and I have coworkers that support what I do, where I go. and even some that have come up to me because it's about attraction, not promotion, right? Like if we do the right thing and people have a problem and they see you're doing pretty well and they hear a little glimmer of hope and they ask you for help, help them. You know, just give them something. Give them a story, a time of your day, just to listen to what they're going through. And I know if I don't have the answer, I can go to my sponsor or plenty of other people in the program to get an answer for them. Like that's one of the things I think that's so important, that we utilize each other through this whole recovery process. And in the past year, to also help with that bipolar was going back to the basics, which I don't ever want to leave again. So in my mind and in my idea I made up for today is that like, I will always have a service commitment at my group, right? My home group. I'll have it some form of the area. And now I want to add it into like the region. So like, because if I stay connected and I keep going to meetings and I keep talking about where I'm at with my fellows, it won't matter how bad it is because I'll be able to lean on them as much as maybe they might lean on me when I don't even know they're leaning on me. And that's the great thing about it. Like we all get to like be part of this amazing program of recovery, this amazing group of people who I thought when I walked in 4+ years ago, right, that I did not belong. But the more I stay, the more I know I do. And I'm grateful for all the people that I can still recall where people were sitting at my first meeting. Can't really recall what happened 3 weeks ago. Ask my fiance. She gets pissed at me for it. But that I like to say something, maybe it's like, you know, all the stuff I've done over these 37 years, you know, of life, you know, with using it and stuff. But it's okay. That's also okay. Like I've learned to be, it is what it is. It's going to be what it is. As long as I don't pick up, I don't use over stupid stuff. I don't use over big stuff, little stuff, whatever in between. And I stay connected to the people who have helped me through this amazing journey. Life's going to be okay. You know, connect with my higher power on a daily basis. I do an inventory at night, right? Check myself. What have I done right or wrong? All the good 41 questions in the pamphlet. But today, I just get to be the best version of me and just be around some amazing people that I love. And like, I always like to say, like, if no one's told you yet, say that they love you, I love you, because you people did that for me. And I just want someone to go share with someone else, because we never know when it might be the last time we get to say we love you to someone. So I think with that, I'm done. Thanks for letting me share.
Good stuff, Matt. Good stuff, man. And that is so important, man, because you know, we take life for granted. You know, we take it for granted, man. And the way things are going nowadays, man, everything's so fast paced. Things are happening faster. Man, we're seeing our idols as kids gone. You know, that's probably like the people I used to watch on videos or movies, like Bruce Willis, bro.
Right.
He was like man's man. You know what I mean? Like it was man's man. And to see, you know, like the whole evolution, and now he can't even, you know, doesn't even remember his career, doesn't matter.
Remember who he is. He doesn't know who he is. He has no idea who he is. But the cool thing is, right, him and his ex, like, she's like taking care of him.
I know.
Like, it's full circle type stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what it's about, man. It's what it's about, full circle type stuff. You know, that's what this recovery game is about too, man. Someone poured in us, and we got to pour it back. You know, somehow, some way. You know, yeah, good stuff, Matt. You're definitely an asset to this whole community, this recovery community. I love your energy. I always have. At first, it was a little questionable, but
I think everybody was.
I got that Matt energy too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Off the wall, and that's why we connect.
Tigger, man.
Yeah, Tigger. I'd rather be a ticket than a poo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You know, you talked about he talked about the person, that person that spoke
Mm-hmm.
that life into you, man. I
Mm-hmm.
think we've all had that, and remembering those instances, and you talked about it, like I can't remember three things from 3 days ago, but I can
Right.
remember these moments where it's just
Mm-hmm.
inscribed into your brain and your memory, and you hold on to those things, and it's because those things are impactful. Like there's
Yeah.
certain aspects of my times, like listen, I'll tell you right now, I don't remember my childhood at all. Zero zilch. I don't
Okay.
remember. I don't remember a lot. I don't
Yeah.
remember anything really. And but I can remember certain aspects of it. Where it was like impactful, either
Mm-hmm.
negative or positive. It just depends what it is. And when somebody pours something or says something to you, I remember the time like you had with those 3 words that somebody said to you, and you like it did it for you, right?
Yeah.
I remember a time when I first got in recovery, and I was at a Bay Area um, Unity Day, right?
Okay.
I was at this, okay, and then this guy spoke life into me.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke about the triangle of self obsession,
Mm.
and it resonated, and I don't know why it resonated so hard with me that day, but the words he spoke stuck, and that was it for
Mm-hmm.
me, man. It sealed the deal, and
Yeah.
it's like I think that's why we go. That's why we go to meetings. Everybody's like, "Oh, I don't want to go to a meeting. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want us." Right. And I think the more times that we don't want us, we're gonna miss the opportunity where our higher power shows up and feeds us what we need.
I agree with that 100%. Because like I know when I don't want to go to a meeting, and I know it's like you hear it all the time, like that's when you should go to a meeting. But like, and not
Yeah.
again, like you said, it might not be for. It might be because you might see someone that needs to see you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone you haven't seen in a long time. You might hear something that, again, you might not use it that day for your recovery, but down the line, it may be impactful for you. Or
Yeah.
it might just be someone like you had to go there and hear what someone else says that's like hurting. That you didn't know they were hurting. That's close to you. Like I can say like when I go out, like when I want to go to a meeting, that's one of the times like I know I got to go, especially over the past, that 1.5 years and at those 2.5 year marks where I like the depression hit. That's a sign that Matt has to get his ass to a meeting. Finding my
Oh yeah.
nails is a sign. Get my butt to a meeting.
Yeah. Hey, and listen, man, I think we've all been through that recovery
Mhm.
evolution, right? Where
Right.
that 1, 2, 3 year, kind of phase where it's like the pink cloud's gone, recovery
Yeah.
doesn't have its bursts anymore, and we're like, what do we do with ourselves? We have like different emotions and things are happening. And you're like, I've been in recovery
Mhm.
for this long. I shouldn't be suffering with depression, anxiety. And you have these ups and downs, and you're like, what is
Mhm.
going on? And
Right.
then it's like a new form of surrender that has to happen. Like it's almost like an overhaul, like a spring cleaning of
Yeah.
all that you are, Um, and I've had that experience too, which is really cool.
Mhm.
And it becomes more free. And even at year 5, when your head pops out of your ass, you have another spring cleaning.
So I
You
heard.
know what I mean?
Wait, I'm gonna wait for it. July 5th,
There's a pop,
2026.
bro.
There's a pop.
I wasn't a believer, but there's a pop. Might not be sound effects, but there's
Right,
definitely
right,
a
right.
pop.
Not because
Yeah. But who knows? You might have already experienced it,
Mhm.
before that mark. You
Mhm.
never know, but I feel like we always evolve no matter what, each year to year and month to month, and
Mhm.
especially the years, man. And coming up on New Year's, there's a new form of me. There's a new,
Right.
wiser me, because we're
Mhm.
growing up in this recovery journey. So every year I become a new, more stable.
Version.
Just
Yeah. Right. I mean,
right?
that's a great way of thinking about like the new year. Like I know one friend, like she like changes up like how she like does her like gratefuls or something like that. Like, what should the word of the year be? Like, I know like on the recovery chats I've seen her like posting that like, oh, this should be the word that you should use this year. And like, again, going out to our friends, our family,
Yeah.
our children we chose to like help us get a little bit better for that year.
Yeah. No, we always do somewhat like words for the year. I don't remember them though. I
Mhm.
try. I
I
try.
try.
I
I
try.
try. I try so
Yeah.
hard.
There's so many words flowing around.
Yeah.
Then I
So
forget.
many things.
You know, the New Year's resolutions, right? We always do the New
Mhm.
Year's resolution. I only had one that stuck, was the stop smoking cigarettes. That was the only
Mm.
that was the best one.
I,
But
I'm so happy that I stopped smoking this year.
Oh.
This year, like this year in recovery. Like it was.
Yeah.
I remember it was Thanksgiving morning, running a 5K with some of the guys and one female that we all got together to run the turkey trot down in like Clearwater, and someone in the program who's never smoked in his life, and I'm an athlete, he just starts taking off past me, and I catch him like how you doing? Okay? He's like, yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I never ran more than 2.5 miles in my life, and now I'm at 2.6, and then I'll be at 2.7, and he just took off. And I'm like, I'm quitting cigarette. I'm quitting vaping. I'm done. I'm done with vaping. Vaping's done.
a little resentment quitting, right?
It was for that. He helped me quit vaping. Thank you, Steven.
Hey, it's whatever works, right? Whatever works. But Matt, I appreciate you coming on here, sharing your story. It's been a long time coming. I appreciate you in this recovery area, and you're definitely an asset.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on tonight. So I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on here and being a part of Matt's story and being a part of the Hope Shot family and always showing up and supporting. We will be back next week for topics and some spiritual topics on some good stuff to get us going over that hump during the week. I kind of like this hump day type podcasting instead of the beginning.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. All right, man.
Middle week, y'all. Cheer up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, you guys. We'll see you next week. And until then, we'll see you.
Peace.